State Hall of Fame. It's kind of like the trifecta for you, right?
I'm in those three. I'm in the Knoxville Hall of Fame. I'm in my high school Hall of Fame. I'm in the Tulsa Hall of Fame. So this is like icing on the cake. Yeah. It doesn't get any better than this.
Does this one rank? Where's this one rank compared to all those?
It ranks right there at the top. And obviously the National Hall of Fame I went in 2008. Rose Bowl Hall of Fame is quite an honor. But this is right there. When you go in with coaches like Paul Brown and Woody Hayes and Earl Bruce and some of the other coaches, football coaches that coached here a long time ago, doesn't get any better than that.
You talk about just how important Ohio State is to you, and the kind of pull that it has on you. I mean, you're a guy that wasn't from here and didn't really have a connection, and you've stayed.
Well, let me say this, guys. You don't go in the Hall of Fame by yourself. I mean, you go in the Hall of Fame because you won a lot of games. You don't win games unless you got good players and good coaches, and I had that. I had great support from Jim Jones, the athletic director who hired me, Bill Miles, the assistant athletic director. Dr. Gee, you could not work for a better president if you're a football coach at Ohio State than Dr. E. Gordon Gee. I'm telling you, the guy's fabulous, and I love him. But I had great players, I had great coaches, and it's a great place. If you coach here long enough, you're going to go in the Hall of Fame because you got to win to be here long, And if you don't win, you don't want to be here. If you're here, 8, 10 years, you're going to. Jim Truss will be in the Hall of Fame, and hopefully Urban will stay around and win enough games. If he stays around, he'll win enough games to go in.
But you can't sell yourself short. You've accomplished a lot in your time here. Have you maybe thought back a little bit more about that lately now, leading up to the Hall of Fame?
All the time. I think back in the 90s, if we'd had the same system then that they have now, I honestly believe we'd have won a couple national championships. I think we had 2 or 3 teams here during the mid to late 90s that were as good as anybody. Alabama, defending 2-time national champion, they lost a game last year. They lost a game the year before. We lost one game and we're done. You don't get a chance to go play for it. We had some great players and, as I mentioned, some great coaches.
Urban said this week that he loves having you around the team. What exactly is your role, and just what's that been like being back around the team?
You know what? I mentioned to Clay Hall on an interview a while ago. You couldn't be treated better than Urban and Jim Trussell treats Coach Bruce and myself. We have an office over there. We're allowed to go over and sit in meetings, watch practice, talk to him, talk to players, that kind of stuff. I don't help much. I don't help much. No. I tell him, I do a little work with the Bengals, so all I do is tell him what players on the other team that we're looking at, the Bengals are looking at, scouting wise, and that's no secret. I mean, you look at the guys that everybody knows who the good players are on the opposing team.
Do you enjoy though staying involved in the game?
Absolutely.
Do you vote in the Harris poll still too, or?
No, I vote in a poll. If you guys got a minute, let me tell you about the poll I vote. There's a group of us former coaches, and I'll start on the West Coast. It's Terry Donahue, it's John Robinson, it's Don James, it's Lavelle Edwards, it's Fisher DeBerry, it's R.C. Slocum, it's Gene Stallings, it's Bill Mallory, it's John Cooper, it's Don Nalen, it's Bobby Bowden, it's Frank Broyles, it's Vince Dooley, it's Pat Dye, it's Dick McPherson, and George Welch. Now, there's only about 5,000 victories among those coaches. And we have a conference call every Monday at 11 o'clock. And we talk about the games that we've seen. All of us have been to games. The game we've seen in person or we've seen on TV. And then they used to send us a DVD copy of the games that are all televised. But anyway, we talk about them, then we vote on the top 25 teams. I mean, who better to pick the top teams than the former coaches? And we're trying to get the BCS to use our vote. Yeah. But you know what? It makes too much sense. You're probably not going to do that. It makes too much sense.
What do you think about the playoff that's starting up next year?
I love it. I love it. I'm a playoff man. I always have been. It would not bother me to see them go 8 teams, playoff. But I think that each team in the conference have got to play equal number of conference games. I don't like this conference playing 8 and this conference playing 11 and whatever. And we got to play a tougher schedule. There's too many, not necessarily Ohio State, although we're there too, that have had too many easy games.
So you're not
Alabama's
a fan of playing Florida A&M?
No, I'm not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah. Every game can't be, a showdown.
Yeah.
But every game, that other team ought to have a chance to be competitive.
Well, you used to bring in Washington State almost often, and other
not too often.
Well,
but Washington State wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Washington State wasn't bad compared to some. Yeah, they had some good players at least. My first year, if you remember, we played Syracuse, Pitt, and LSU.
That's true.
First 3 games. All 3 of them nationally ranked.
Just staying involved in the game. Like when you're at games on Saturdays, it's still hard to kind of. Are you still totally amped up or not?
No. I go watch a game and go home. And, you know, turn the TV on and watch somebody else. But no, I enjoy it. I enjoy being around the players and coaches. And I go to all the games and go to some practices. Not every practice, but some practices.
So would you say you're still like a football junkie?
Oh yeah. I am. I always will be. Always was and always will be. Yeah, sure.
Never gets out of your blood type.
No. That's all I did all my life. You know?
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate the time.
Have a good weekend.
What's the name of the